Hey everyone, I'm Gautam aka the Seeker of Wisdom. I'm a manifestation coach, and in this video, we're going to be talking about one of the keys to manifesting, and that being gratitude. Now, before I do so, I'd like to remind you guys I am available for coaching. I offer hourly, monthly, email, and DM coaching. The link will be in the description down below for an FAQ page where you have all the answers you need for coaching. And thereafter, if you're interested, you can email me or message me my Instagram for pricing and payment details. So, I also have a Facebook group where I upload articles from time to time and resources, as well as you can guys ask me questions anonymously there as well. And I also have a mailing list where I will upload articles and my latest offers for coaching as well. Again, all the link will be in the description down below, guys. So be sure to check it out. So without further ado, guys, let's get to it. Also, by the way, if my voice sounds a little different, that's because I'm just recovering from C19. I don't want to say the exact word here. I don't know how YouTube handles it, and that was why I was kind of inactive in the platform as well. So I'll get back to all of your comments and responses in due time. So thank you for your patience there. So if my voice sounds just a little bit different, my throat is still recovering. It's one of the last things to recover actually. So thank you for your patience there, guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there in case my voice sounds very different. So what prompted this video was I had a lot of time to think while I was resting because I couldn't really do a lot of things. And one thing that really kind of serves as a catalyst to manifesting and something that really makes it easy is gratitude. And I feel that a lot of people tend to overlook gratitude or like underestimate it, the power of it in the process of manifesting, because they are so hyper focused on getting the results. And it's either that, or people are really focused on like self concept and whatnot, to the point where they kind of forget the role that gratitude plays. um, and I think like many also kind of struggle to invoke a genuine sense of gratitude when it comes to their manifestations, because they don't know how to do it. And I'm going to be talking about how do you genuinely like develop it overall, and with regards to your manifestation as well. So we're going to be looking at both of it. And I'm going to be talking about like how gratitude works and how I perceive it as well. So that kind of gives you guys a little bit of perspective as to how to develop it, I guess. So like I think I spoke about this in one of my earlier Instagram videos, I think last year. And that being like when to develop a genuine sense of gratitude, like if you look at like prehistoric times when like man was still like cavemen and whatnot, right? They had to hunt for food and everything, right? And they went through the process, right? They probably had to set up traps for it. They had to like wait for the animal to fall into the trap, or they had to like hunt it. They had to plan. And by the time they were cooking that piece of meat, right, they had to like maybe skin it, and like they had to like clean it and everything. And by the time that piece of meat is ready to eat, right, they have went through that entire process, right? So they will never take that piece of meat for granted. Whereas right now, right, like if you want to eat a piece of chicken, for example, you can just order it. Like there's like food delivery apps all around the world right now. um, there are like fast food restaurants. They offer delivery systems as well. They have delivery services. There are systems in place for you to get things right at your doorstep. And what it has done, it has made us like take things for granted, right? There is no appreciation because we don't go through the process itself. Now that doesn't mean like you have to do all those things right now as well in order to invoke that. But the point I'm getting to is appreciate the process that goes into such things. Like if you think about like say your Amazon package, for example, the the sheer system that's in place, right? If you start looking into it, like you will never take shipping for granted ever again, because the elaborate systems, the supply chains, the logistics that's involved, um, it's complex, it's vast, it's robust. And it really looks like a maze, right? Like and when you look at it from that perspective, you will never um, feel like complaining about anything anymore, right? Because that's how many people are involved. That's how many complicated systems are involved to get your package from like one part of the world to where you are, to your doorstep. And that is something that when you like look at the process, like you will never like not want to like you will never have the need to like complain. Like you will automatically develop a genuine sense of gratitude. And that's what I wanted to get into was appreciate the process, right? And don't take anything for granted, right? When you look at the process, when you're appreciative of the process, and when you don't take anything for granted, like it automatically gets induced in you. You don't have to say like, oh, I'm so grateful for this, without feeling it, right? Because sure, that may work, right? When you keep telling yourself like, sure, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, like that may work. But this is a like a much more easier way to invoke that feeling. And I feel like when you do that genuinely, it becomes a very conscious act. And you wouldn't like not have it, right? And gratitude puts you at ease. And it also, I think, gives you a sense of patience, right? And that is something that I have experienced. And that's why I wanted to really get into this, was it really gives you guys the sense of patience, right? As another simpler example would be like, let's say you guys are like if your parents like buy something for you guys, right? And you're just like, okay, cool. And you may not take good care of it because you didn't go through the process, right? You didn't go through the hard process of like earning the money for it or something. Whereas if you buy something, you find yourself giving it a little bit of extra care and extra attention, right? So that, at least that's something that I've found to be true over the years, even in my cases, in like several of the things that I bought for myself. And it's because we went through that, right? Like I went through the process of earning that money to buy that, so I know what I went through to get it. So I will never not appreciate it, right? Never not be grateful for it, right? And I think like that's what I'm getting towards, right? So appreciate the process, right? And don't take it for granted, right? So look around, like take a look around your room, for example, and see all the things that you have, and start being grateful for it, right? Sure, you were, there was hard work involved maybe to for you to get it. But just because you have the money to afford it doesn't mean that that service had to be there, right? Like there are people involved to get it to you. And that's one thing that I really want to get into is a lot of people tend to think, well, I'm paying for it, so it must be there. And that entitlement kind of like erodes gratitude away. Whereas if you look at it from, I can have the money, but that service may not exist, and so like there's no point, right? So being like invoking a genuine sense of gratitude through that, like by appreciating the process and by not taking it for granted, it really 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 helps you guys. It really helps you guys to appreciate whatever that you have. And what it really does is when you guys are like going through life, right? When you feel like things aren't going well, things aren't going in your way, that things are really like like not in your favor, that you feel like all hope is lost, for example. And when you do this process, when you take a look at everything that's going well, you wouldn't feel like life is falling apart, for example, because you're looking at your life and you're saying, hey, wait a minute, actually everything is going much better than I could have ever thought it would be, right? Things could have been much worse, but I have all these things in my life. I have access to all these things right now. I have a roof over my head. I have 3 meals per day, right? I have access to basic amenities, right? I am more than abundant in my life. And when you look at it from that perspective, what happens is that you are going to attract more of those abundance into your life, right? So you are stepping out of that lack mindset and you're stepping into that abundance mindset. And it really helps you to stay on top of the game. And what you're going to do is you're going to attract more of this, and you're going to experience nothing but prosperity and abundance, right? So that is something that I have found to be really, like, that thought process is something that I found really to be like useful, and it really feels like a game changer for me, right? So one of my Instagram followers used to I was inspired by this person to actually like journal every single day, and about the things that I'm grateful for, right? So whatever that I go through that day, I actually like write it down, right? Like the things that I'm grateful for. So every single day what I will do is I'll take a piece of paper, I'll just write it down, what are the things that I'm grateful for. And when I actually do this, what I'm doing is I'm actually consciously thinking about the things that went well throughout the day, because it's so easy to forget about all the things that went well, because our mind is always focused on the unfavorable things often, right? So when I write those things down, I'm like, oh my god, like actually this happened, this X, Y, and Z happened, and it didn't have to go right. A lot of things could have gone wrong, but it didn't, and I'm grateful for that, right? And you really begin to realize, like, wow, like, how lucky you are, for lack of a better word, how privileged and blessed you are, right? And I take it a step further by giving gratitude to myself, right? If I completed a task well, if I did something, well that day, right? Let's say you gave up your seat for someone, be grateful for yourself for that, right? Like you didn't have to, but you did it, right? You brought the goodness out of you, for example. And like you can like appreciate yourself for anything and everything, rather than looking for those validations, from the outside, from others. You give it to yourself, you acknowledge it, you appreciate yourself for whatever that you have done, right? You acknowledge for yourself for like working hard, or being consistent with the routine, for example. And that kind of, what it does is to highlight all the good things that you're doing, highlight all the things that are going well in your life. And that genuinely invokes a sense of gratitude, right? And it doesn't have to be an elaborate list, by the way, right? Write 5 things that you're grateful for yourself. Write 10 things that went well throughout the day, right? There has to be things, right? It can be as simple as, like, I'm grateful for the bus driver driving the bus well, right? For bringing me safely from point A to point B. And you might be thinking, really, like, seriously? But no, like, I was just talking about this to one of my friends yesterday, and I was like, once I started to learn how to drive, and once I got my license, I never saw bus drivers in the same way again, because I realized, like, what really, the process that you have to take to get that license. And I was just thinking about, like, if someone messes up that turning on in like a curb or something, they can like have the whole traffic stuck in one place. But every time the bus drivers, the way they turn, it's perfect. And I'm just like, wow, like, and I had a genuine sense of gratitude for that. Again, it's because I went through the process. I never saw it the same way again, and I never took it for granted again. And it's so easy to take things for granted, because we are so hyper focused on our issues and our problems, and the things that we have to quote unquote solve, and things that we are concerned about throughout the day, that we forget all the good things that are happening in our lives. um, and I think there was a quote by someone, something along the lines of, if if you think life is magical, it is magical, right? If you don't think, if you think it's completely normal, then it's normal. And like, that's how you see it. Like when you see like all the things that are going well in your life, you begin to realize, like, oh my god, like, how blessed am I right now. And when you see life from that perspective consistently, you will never feel like anything is falling apart ever again, and you will have such a optimistic view on life. And I'm not saying that it'll always be 100%. There'll always be things that bothers you, there'll always be things that you will be concerned about. But if you choose to actively focus on that, that's what you're going to attract more of. Whereas if you focus on all the things that are happening well in your life, well, that's what you're going to attract more of, because energy flows where attention flows. You're going to attract more of this. So this is really a game changer, right? And the question for a lot of people is, well, then how do I apply it to my manifestations? What should I exactly do in order to make this, apply this, for my manifestations that I don't have yet, like maybe a job or my SP? What should I do? How should I go about that? And the answer for that is, you basically, like, think about your manifestations, you imagine them, right? And I'll get to the part where, like, if you can't visualize, like, what do you do about it? I'll get to that as well. But if you can visualize, right, visualize it, see it, and act like it's already true, right? If just the fact that you can actually imagine it means that it exists somewhere, right, in the infinite parallel realities, and you're choosing that possibility as your main one, right? And what you're going to do is give gratitude for it, right? The fact that you can actually imagine this favorable outcome means that, this favorable outcome wants to be experienced through you, and this outcome wants to be, you know like, manifest and harden into fact into your life. And when you see it that way, right, you can invoke a genuine sense of gratitude. And when you think about the outcome, be grateful for it, be grateful for that way. And that is going to help you, to invoke it, right? Write it down, right, as though it's already happening, right? You can script it down and read it and feel that gratitude, right? So you can say, like, okay, my SP, like, for example, proposed to me, and I really feel, blessed that this went well, this happened in the way it did. My SP actually planned a huge surprise, and all my friends and family and loved ones were there. I'm so grateful and I'm so happy. And as you're writing this down, you're going to automatically visualize it, right? And you're going to imagine that scene, like, however, fuzzy it may be in your mind. And naturally, you're going to invoke the genuine sense of gratitude, right? So when you are looking at it from that perspective, it naturally comes, right? Of all the things you can imagine, your mind, is focusing on the favorable things, and that is, that in and of itself is a fact that you can be grateful for, right? That's how I see it, right? Of all the possibilities that I can imagine, the very fact that I can imagine something that I want to express myself in, right, is, reason enough to feel, grateful for. The very fact that you are alive right now, you're breathing, is reason enough to feel, gratitude for, right? A lot of us tend to take a lot of things for granted, right? And if you want to attract wealth, start being grateful for all the wealth that you already possess, all the abundance that you already possess, right? If you are manifesting an SP, start being grateful for all the relationships you have in your life, right? Your friendships, your family members, start appreciating them. Because if you don't appreciate these people around you, all your loved ones around you, how are you going to love someone, and how are you going to appreciate someone who is going to enter your life? You see what I'm saying? So that really, like, this really helps you to really invoke a genuine sense of gratitude, right? And when you look at it from that perspective, so, like, if you guys are thinking about, like, okay, if I'm going to manifest an SP, start being grateful for the things, like people around you. For example, if I'm going to manifest, like, finance, for example, start being grateful for the things that are already that you have, in terms of abundance, right? And that's going to really attract things. And that's the way, like, I would go about it if I were to be starting with this. But the overall goal is to be grateful for everything and anything that already exists in your life, because the fact is, there are, like, there are reasons as to why you don't have to have it, but the reason it exists is reason enough to be grateful for it, right? So that's how you go about, developing a genuine sense of gratitude. And you can journal it down. Like I said, you guys can script it down. And like, if you can't, visualize it, have it in a conversation with your SP, for example. Have it in a conversation with your boss, for example, if you want to raise, right? And hear those things that you want to hear from them, and be grateful for the fact that you can actually hear it in your inner conversations, right? And that is going to, develop a genuine sense of gratitude, right? You don't have to possess something in order to feel grateful for it. You can just imagine it and feel it in your mind, and be grateful for the fact that you can even do that, and that is going to attract it right now, right? And you just go by your life feeling grateful just for the fact that you were able to envision it in your mind, and that is definitely going to attract it into your lives, right? So again, like, to put it simply, right, be grateful for the things that are around you right now, and be grateful for the things that you want to manifest by imagining them in your mind, and that is going to, bring it into your life, right? And you're not doing this um, just to attract it into your life. When you make it a, like your default thought process, it just comes to you naturally. And of course, lastly, be grateful for yourself. Be grateful for all the things that you are currently having in your life right now, and that is really going to change the way you perceive things, right? Be grateful for all the things that you're doing, for pushing yourself, and for, like, achieving, like, all the milestones that you're doing right now, right? And that is really going to change the way you feel about life in general and feel about yourself, and that is definitely going to change the tide in your favor, right? Guys, thank you so much for watching. We've come to the end of the video. If this video resonated with you, be sure to drop a like and a comment down below. Turn on the bell notification so that you will know when I upload a new video. Subscribe for more videos like this. I'll be uploading videos every single week. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and happy manifesting.